Wherever you are and however you may be listening, we are live coming to you directly from Washington, D.C. My name is Hassan Riggs. We are live. How are you? I'm doing well. Welcome to Two Cents, where I share my 2 cents on how to not only generate leads, but convert those leads into quality appointments, ultimately growing your business. We talk about real estate lead generation marketing, follow up and conversion. We talk about real estate sales. We talk about a lot of things on these shows. And today I want to start off with somewhat of a serious note. Unless you were living under a rock this past weekend, then you know that Kobe Bryant passed away. Him, his daughter, and seven other people died in a plane crash outside of LA on Sunday. And this struck me pretty hard actually, because I grew up a Kobe Bryant fan. Um, so obviously I idolized Michael Jordan. Okay, so for those who don't know, I played basketball. Like when I was really young, I played basketball, soccer, baseball, field hockey. I played a lot of things. But as I got older, I kind of navigated or gravitated towards basketball more. So I ended up only playing basketball in middle school, high school, and ultimately college. And growing up, Kobe Bryant was the premier star, primarily because he was a young guy, only a couple of years older than me, 5, 6 years older than me. But he grown up overseas, and he was always in Slam magazine, and ultimately he ended up going to the NBA as a guard out of high school. Where previous to that, most of the people who I think all of the people who went to the NBA out of high school were like, you know, giants, 7 feet tall, 6'11". Kobe Bryant was the only person who most folks could relate to from a size and physicality perspective. And so he was just, he was glorified and really admired. And I adored Kobe Bryant. I've always been a big fan of his. And so it was really sad to know that he lost his life prematurely. And has had me thinking, quite deeply. And well, quite frankly, over the past several months and maybe even a year, I've been thinking more deeply about how I spend my time. Um, am I focusing on the right things? Am I building enough strong relationships with people? Am I helping enough people? Because at the end of the day, work is work, and I'm passionate about that, but it's only a small part of my life. And so, hopefully, you take some time to reflect on are you spending your time on the right things? Because if you're not spending your time on the right things, nothing else matters. So um, with that aside, welcome to Two Cents. My name is Hassan Riggs. I am the founder, CEO at Smart Alto. I'm a former inside sales agent. I've set more than 10,000 real estate appointments. I'm also a contributor for Forbes, where I write about real estate marketing, real estate technology trends, how to set appointments through text message. I'm a speaker at Inman, speaker at NAR. I've kind of done the speaker circuit. I say that not to impress you, but just to impress upon you that I'm an expert in this space, right? So you're in really good hands today. I know many of you know me, but there's also a growing community of people who don't know me. And so I'm streaming directly into the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind Facebook group. If you're watching this later on YouTube or the Smart Alto Facebook page, in order to watch these live, you have to be a member of the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind group. We get messages, um, quite literally, this is not an exaggeration, 5, 6, 7 dozen messages about how can they see this presentation live? How can they see all these Facebook lives in real time? Adam sends out a couple of emails, so if you're on our email list, you'll get access to them and you'll see kind of when these are coming up because I've been changing times recently. But if you're in the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind Facebook group, that's the best way to catch these lives and the things that we talk about, the stuff that we give out. For example, last week we gave out some free text message scripts. I'll talk to you about that in a second. The exact text message campaigns that we use to help Rob West ultimately make $5,000 in 7 days. And he later responded to me in the real estate marketing mastermind group where another deal is under contract. And so that's $14,000 in a matter of 2 weeks. How we help him generate that, we gave that script out, the exact messages out to people who asked for it in the real estate marketing mastermind group when they were on the message live. And so there were dozens of people who messaged us after the fact who didn't have access to it because they were not on the live presentation. So unfortunately, if you weren't able to catch the live, I'm not going to go through and send this thing out for like into perpetuity, like hundreds of people who ask, and I'm not also going to make it available to everyone. I'm going to make it available to the people who are there live. So it's kind of like one of those things in life, right? So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. All right. So again, today we're talking about how to track your ROI. We have a great show for you today. Again, welcome to Two Cents. My name is Hassan Riggs, and I'm excited to chat with you. I mentioned a couple of things that we have talked about, and I'm talk mentioned a couple of things that we are going to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive in. This is not going to be a particularly long Facebook Live. I don't even know how many people are interested in this topic really. I think only serious business owners are interested in this topic, and it's how to track your ROI. I'm going to talk about that um, a little bit more in a moment because it's a little disappointing how many people are not interested in this topic. I think there's a lot of people who are, but there's a lot of people who are kind of like, maybe I'll show up. Oh, Hassan, if I can make it, I'll make it. And then you have some people who are like super passionate about it, and they're like, I want to know the simplest, easiest way to track my ROI on my paid advertising, Facebook, Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever. I want to know what's working and what's not. And so I'm going to go ahead and dive in. Metrics are exciting. Hey, what's going on, Michelle? Oh, one thing I want to mention. Um, and you know what's also interesting is that we have a couple of hundred people who show up on these lives from time to time, um, who watch the lives, and you see a lot of the same people time and time again. Like Michelle is always here. Like you see the same people time and time again. And it just shows you that the people who are really serious about growing their business are always showing up to learn, to grow, to change, to evolve. I spent over $10,000 last year on my training, on my education, on Facebook, on digital marketing, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, reading books. You can see I have a very small library behind me. I grew up with a library in my house. I grew up an avid reader. My mom, my dad were avid readers, focused a lot on learning, focused a lot on education and just improvement, kaizen, constant, steady improvement. I just grew up in a house like that. So it was really natural and normal to me to invest in things that I believe in, invest time, invest money in things that are important to me, mind, body, and soul. I share with my wife, Ashley, who works for the FBI. I share with her all the time. Anytime we're making a decision around what to invest in, mind, body, soul, I'm going to be biased towards action. I'm going to be biased towards investing in those things because it just matters. So training, education, fitness, health, etc. I'm just always a big fan of that. And so, okay. With that said, I'm off of my my soapbox there. Let me just pull this up really quickly. All right. So, how to track your ROI? This is not going to be a super long Facebook Live, but we it's going to be really helpful to I think a lot of people to just use something that's simple and use something that you can use. Again, my name is Hassan Riggs, founder CEO at Smart Alto. I'm streaming directly into the real estate marketing mastermind group. One of my favorite quotes, I say this all the time, if you're still doing business today the way you were a few years ago, I got two words for you: Radio Shack. The world is always changing, it's always evolving, it's always adapting, right? And so the people who are always at the forefront are the ones who change, grow, evolve, adapt. They change, they grow, they evolve, they adapt. They don't let the world just pass them by. You got a couple of different types of people. One person who knows the world is changing and they don't do anything about it. Another person who knows the world is changing and they change with it. And another person who has absolutely no idea the world is changing. And I have sympathy for that person. I have no sympathy for the person who knows the world is changing and they don't do anything about it, right? So one of the ways the world is changing is people are walking around with their cell phone in their hand and they're always text messaging. They're on Facebook Messenger. They are much less likely to pick up the phone and call someone, much less likely to answer the phone if they don't have an appointment scheduled with someone. And so people who are stuck in their ways, they continue to call people while their conversion rates continue to decline. And so they're on the Titanic playing music. I have very little sympathy for that person when there's just data to show that the world is changing and it's evolving. And so you got to change involved with it. So, what did we talk about last time? So the last Facebook Live, if you were not on that and you haven't seen it, um, then I'll share it with you just briefly, but you should definitely go back and watch it. And if you were on it, then this is just a quick refresher. We talked about how to revive old leads in your database. We gave a case study of Rob West, who's an 18-year vet. He's a team leader and a broker. Currently, he was a team lead, an agent, and a broker previously over his 18-year career. Now he's a team leader at the West Home team. He's based in Orlando, Florida. He generates leads from Facebook, buyers and sellers. He also generates um, radio. He also generates seller leads from radio ads. We talked about how to revive old leads from his database, his goal, his strategy, his metrics. Um, we ran a 30-day blitz. We're in like day 14 or so. I don't know exactly how many days we are into this 30-day blitz reviving old leads for him. He gave us 2,200 old leads that were 1 to 2 years old. 400 responded to the text message. 12 set appointments. Six held those appointments. One person ended up. My goodness. If you remember, I had the flu a couple of weeks ago, and man, I'm like over the flu, but I still have this like dry, persistent cough. And so I apologize in advance because I will cough during this presentation. Um, anyway, so one buyer under contract that was 175K cash deal. He made 5K from that. One buyer out looking. This person is now, let me update this because this person is now under contract. Um, and so that's a total of 14K. And he had one buyer referral. I have not gotten an update from Rob on like I like haven't had another conversation with him about this. It's likely that these numbers have improved, but I just haven't talked to him about it. I just saw that he posted in the real estate marketing mastermind group a couple of days ago that this other buyer is now under contract. So I was just mentioning that. So ultimately, in 7 days, we helped him in 14 days or whatever. We've helped him generate 14,000 bucks, right? And I gave away the text message scripts that we sent to those buyers in order to generate that business for them. This is what it looks like when we set an appointment for them. This is the kind of what he shared with me about his experience literally like the day after we started the campaigns. I'll read it for you. Bro, your company has set 4 appointments on the first 4 days. On the first day they had my leads. Just hung up with the first of four, and it's a cash buyer looking to buy immediately. And we're heading out to see homes this weekend. What? I'm impressed, but then again, I knew you ran a great company. These are leads from 2 months back to 3 years back, all have just been sitting in my database. He sent me that as a private message on Facebook. Rob, again, He's a buddy of mine. He's in the real estate marketing mastermind group. He's like a real person. This is his face, and that's his logo. So you can see him. I get asked that question all the time. Like, are these case studies you give? Are these the real people? You think I'm making this stuff up? Like all these are real people. It's so funny to me. But I guess like there is I kind of see where that question is coming from because you do have people who just make stuff up. It's just mind-boggling to me that people would do that. Um, I gave a couple of tips on how to get people to show up for appointments. So I saw this earlier today in the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind Facebook group. So someone asked the question like how many people, like what percentage of people show up? And I've always said that if you follow my recommendation, you're going to get 90% plus people show up to meet with you. They're going to hold the appointment time, in part because of commitment and consistency. Because we grow up with folks telling us, our parents, and if you're a parent, you know that you do this. You tell your kids, follow through, don't give up, don't quit, be transparent, be honest, do what you say you're going to do, never give up, follow through, um, don't quit, don't be a quitter. All right, you tell your kids that. You don't tell your kids, give up when something is unpleasant. Quit at any chance that you get. Don't follow through. Be inconsistent. Be unexpected. You don't tell your kids that. So we all grow up believing a part of our identity is in keeping our commitments. We want to be known as rational. We want to be known as ethical and transparent. We want to be known as logical. We want to be known as dependable. And so when we make a commitment to do something, we likely keep that commitment. So the very first step is to get people to commit to you. Make a small commitment, then they're likely to keep that commitment. And so that's the very first like overarching thing. The second thing I share with people is when you call someone, if we set an appointment for you and you've called that person and they don't answer the phone, then hey Melissa, I love this. I'm new to Smart Alto and have my first appointment you set today. I'm doing this right after the call. Yes, great. Perfect, Melissa. When you call someone and they don't answer the phone, literally, this is not like figuratively speaking, literally take a screenshot of that appointment and send a text message to that person and say, hi, John, hi, Jamie, Jim, Amber, Daniel, whatever. Like, respond to that person with that text message and say, hey, are we still on for our call at 11 a.m. today? Are we still on for our call at 12 o'clock today? And send them the literal screenshot showing them they have an appointment with you. Not like figuratively speaking, literally take a screenshot of it. So I did this a couple of days ago. I had a setup call. So Renee, um, who is in the real estate marketing mastermind group, she can vouch that because we talked about this on the call. With when I talked to her on the phone, we had a setup call, and most of my calls are with existing clients. That's why I don't know most of our new clients. I know most of our existing clients though, because I talk to them. It's like important for me to build relationships with people and let them know that crap, like I'm here to help. I'm a real person. I'm a business owner. I know how it is to grow a business. I'm here to help you grow your business, right? So you have access to me and I have access to you. We can talk. We can talk about strategies or whatever. So I talked to her. I called her and she didn't answer the phone. I literally took a screenshot of the appointment and text messaged it to her and said, hey, are we still on for our call today? She responded immediately and she was like, yes, I'm just hanging up on the call. Well, if I didn't do that and I just called her and she didn't answer, then I was like, well, crap, she blew me off. And I just sent her an email and then she responded like whenever she saw that email 2 days later. Now the appointment was missed. but she had every intention of making the appointment. No one is just sitting around just waiting for you to call. People have a life. They got kids, they got a family, they got work, they got thoughts. They're living in their own world, the same way you're living in your own world. And so you got to be respectful of that, and you have to understand that. And Daniel, you're right. You'll be surprised how many people pick up and make the call. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when we set an appointment for you, like for example, Melissa, do you have the Smart Alto? You have Smart Alto calendar set up, obviously, because you just said we set an appointment for you. But the second thing is that we tell people to upgrade and get the pay $8 to Calendly and get the text message functionality, which will send a text message to to the person reminding them about the um, reminding them about the appointment. It sends an email reminder and a text message reminder reminding them about the appointment. You gotta do that. You have to do that because it will increase your show up rate. You know, you'll see 90, it'll be 90%, right? Your show up rate, 90 plus percent. Um, we talked about how we set appointments for folks, banter. You've heard me talk about this 100 times now. I'm beating it in the industry's head. Budget, authority, need, timeline, area, and relationship. We want to know their budget, $150,000 home buyer or $3 million home buyer. Authority, is this person a decision maker? You want to talk to decision makers, their needs, wants, and expectations. 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 4 bedroom, 7 bath. Um, Timeline, 3 days, 3 months, 3 years. When are they looking to buy? Helps you prioritize that person in your mind. Area, what area are they looking to buy in? Is it an area that you know that you can actually help that person? Or is it like an hour and a half away? The person was just kind of passing through. Relationship, what's their relationship with another agent? What's their relationship with the lender? If they don't have a relationship with a lender, they haven't been pre-approved. If they already have a relationship with an agent, then a signed buyer's agreement, you can't help them anyway. So when we qualify appointments for you, our goal is to figure out as much banter information as possible when we do that. And then we start talking about the life cycle stages: subscriber, lead, MQL, SQL, opportunity, client, and evangelist. If you were on the Facebook Live last week, we talked about what MQL and SQL stands for. Please put it in the chat. Let me know. Respond to me and let me know that you know what MQL and SQL stands for. I would be interested to know how many people actually know what that stands for. And then we talked about how to move those people through those stages, basically how to set up your CRM. How, because we're talking about how to revive leads in your database. How do you set up leads in your CRM? Subscriber all the way down to evangelist. We talked about how to move those people through, and then we gave you definitions so that you can make your database personalized to the communication of the lead, but also objective and scalable. So someone else can come in and have it. They know why someone is a subscriber versus why someone is an opportunity and a client. They know that without a shadow of a doubt, meaning they can then take that and scale it for you if you go on vacation. Michelle, you're exactly right. Marketing qualified lead, sales qualified lead. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about how to track your ROI. We're going to talk about why is this important, some of the tools that you need, how to track the ROI, a little bit of homework, and then Q&A. So, if you have questions about this, be sure to put them in like be sure to comment because I can see your comments here. I'm using Ecamm Live, by the way. If you have a Facebook group that you have, like a community-based Facebook group, which you should, with lenders and home repair improvement folks and buyers and sellers in your community where you share tips and strategies and market updates, you should have a Facebook group that does that. And if you do Facebook Live to your group or to your page, I'm using Ecamm Live in order to stream through. I have a DSLR camera right here. I have a three larger like lights here, and I have a ring light that's right in front of me too. Just as an FYI. Um, so, uh, You got a Facebook group, Michelle. What's the name of your Facebook group? Hey, Jacob, what's going on, buddy? Great to see you. Thank you for showing up. Jacob, how many appointments has Smart Alto set for you? Do you know? Because I know you've been with us for like a couple of months now, maybe 1 or 2 months. How many appointments have we set for you, Jacob? And I'm interested to know that, and I'm interested to know how many of those people have showed up for their appointments. You may or may not know that depending on um, how many other people you have on your account. But what I'm going to show you today is actually going to help with that. So you can quite literally answer that question pretty quickly. Real estate made easy. DC MDVA. So many appointments. So Michelle said, Michelle, you're in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. You're in the DMV. I don't know if you know this. I'm in the DMV. Maybe I think we did speak about that a while back, and I was going to introduce you to Charnice Carter, who's a new broker. Um, Realty One. You should definitely talk to her. She'd be super helpful to you. Jacob, you said we've set so many appointments for you. It's ridiculous. You'll check. Yeah, go check that because I think it'll be helpful for people to know how many appointments we set for you and how many of those people kept their commitments. Okay, so this training is for agents, teams, brokers who pay for online leads. These are people who want to really track the investment of their online leads, the return on investment of their online leads, because they're like, crap, this stuff is costing me money. It's for serious owners who want to know what's working and what's not. Your your very first job as a business owner is to evaluate how to use your resources. What resources do you have? Time, money, energy, people, processes, systems, right? These are all the resources you have. Your very first job is to understand how should you use your resources? How should you deploy the resources that you have? It's really hard to know how to deploy your resources if you don't know what's working and what's not. It's impossible to know what's working and what's not if you don't know the data, if you're not tracking it. My mom told me a long time ago, thank you, mom. If it's important enough to keep your attention, it's important enough to track. So that's why every meeting I go to, I take notes. I take a like mental catalog. That's why I talk to people, and that's why I can talk to people because I take notes. And when I write it down, that's how I know I've spoken with Michelle about introducing her to Charnice. Um, that's how I know like all these random things when I talk to people, they'll say, crap, how do you remember that? It's because I pay attention when people talk. And I go back and I like take notes and I review it and I just kind of catalog things in my mind because people notice that. People notice when you pay attention to them because oftentimes throughout life you're just kind of going around and everyone is in their own world and they're paying more attention to themselves and how they're perceived by other people. They're really self-conscious as opposed to actually focusing in and talking to other people. That's why when I'm talking to folks, and you can see, well, you can't see this now, I put my phone down and I turn it over so I can't see any notifications because I don't want to be distracted by it. I want to focus in on you, what you're saying, the whole, stop, look, and listen. Stop what you're doing, look the person in their eyes, and actually listen to what they say. You will be surprised how that small thing improves the relationship, builds trust, and there's a relationship between speed and trust, a direct relationship. When people trust you, transactions speed up. When they trust you, people just do what you say. They don't question it. They just do what you say because they trust you and they know even if you're wrong, they trust what you're saying. And you're going to be more right than wrong because you have data to support your decision. So, anyway, any serious business owners who want to know what's working and what's not, folks who don't have a lot of time and need something simple that everyone can abide by, everyone can do this. This like takes very little training. It takes like 5 minutes of understanding, right? It's people who value data over opinions. There's a lot of folks who have opinions. We can have different opinions, but we can't have different facts. The facts are, and then you can share what the facts are, right? So this gives you transparency. This is great if you have a team because everyone can can go do this, and it's really simple, and it takes no training. It just takes a little bit of grit and perseverance and dedication, but no training. You don't have to go into your CRM. You don't have to learn a new tool. It's just really simple. And then you're okay with directional data, like no calculus needed. I was pretty decent at math, right? I went to fancy schools, but you don't need to go to fancy schools to do this. And going to fancy schools don't mean you're smart, right? Smart people everywhere, and you don't need a PhD in mathematics to like get this and understand this. You just don't. All right. So let's talk about the right way to track your ROI. When I say the right way to do it, what I mean is it's simple for you and others to learn. Number two, it's simple to set up. And number three, it's simple to execute. That's the right way. There are much more complicated ways to do this. This ain't that. If you want something complicated, then go pay for some course from some person who's going to charge you a lot of money, and it's going to be complicated and you're not going to do it. This is just really simple. All right, so let's dive in. This is what you need. You need a Google spreadsheet that everyone on your team. So, okay, so Jacob just responded. He said 28 scheduled appointments by Smart Alto so far this month. Wow. 28 scheduled appointments by Smart Alto this month for Jacob and his team. That means 28 different times we have qualified a lead using banter. Thank you for that, Jacob, by the way. I appreciate you sharing that information and having it so like readily available. um, that means 28 times this month we've put an appointment on Jacob's calendar or someone on his team's calendar, right? So 28 times this month we've done that, and he's spoken with those folks, and that's great news. So good for you, buddy. Glad to hear that. Okay, so this is what you need. You need a Google spreadsheet that everyone on your team has access to. That's it. A Google spreadsheet everyone has access to. Number one. You need a few columns on that Google spreadsheet: date, lead name, appointment, deal closed. That's the basics of what you need. The absolute basics. The date, the name of the lead, the appointment, and deal close columns. If you want to track this by source, you can add a column for source. If you want to track, if you're generating leads from different sources, Facebook, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, ZBuyer, whatever, you can do it by source. If you want to track leads by source and the ad that you're running, maybe you've run 5 different ads. You can add another column for the name of the ad that you're running. So you can track the return on investment by the ad that you're running. Keep in mind, the more columns you add, the more work it is for you. Are you committed to doing that work? Maybe you are. Maybe you're not. It's a question you got to ask yourself. Is your team committed to doing that work? Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. Don't track things that are unnecessary to track just to make you feel better. It's it's better to track fewer things and do it accurately than it is to track everything and do it halfway. Because bad data in, bad data out. Therefore, What what do you absolutely need to make this work? You need a column for the date. You need a column for the lead name. You need a column for the appointment. You need a column for whether the deal closed or not. That's it. That's it. That's all. A Google spreadsheet that everyone has access to, and those four columns. If you wanna if you wanna extend this, you can add a column for source. You can add a column for showing homes, because maybe you're showing homes to that lead. You can add a column for pre-approved if you want to track your funnel. Because when I get if you reach out to Adam or Wayne or Allison and you say, "Hey, my conversions are low." You know what we're going to ask? Let's get on a call. Let's get on an ROI call. And we're going to ask you, how many leads are you getting? How many have set appointments? How many deals have you closed over a specific time range? And if you can't tell me that, then how do you know your conversions are lower? How do you even know if they're higher? How do you know if your conversions are down or up if you haven't been tracking it? Maybe you have an idea, but you don't know that. This is no, I don't want you to feel condemned by what I'm saying, but it's kind of my job to push on you a little bit. Do I have permission to do that? Do I have permission to push on you a little bit and put you in an uncomfortable place to say things that may be a little uncomfortable, right? That's kind of my job here is to help you grow, and growth can be a little uncomfortable at times, right? If you have kids, then you know when new teeth are growing in, it's a little uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable. It's painful. That's my job to help you grow. And it may not all we may not always have like really warm, fuzzy conversations. Some of the conversations you're gonna leave, you're gonna be like, crap, Hassan is kind of tough on me today. I feel a little beat up. It's because you feel beat up because I'm gonna ask you some tough questions. And I want you to know the answers. And if you don't know the answers, I'm gonna ask why, but then I'm gonna help you figure out how to set up a structure to know the answers to those questions. And so if you don't contact me and say, "Hey, my conversions are higher or my conversions are lower," if you don't know what your numbers are over a specified time range. So, um, the data that we're looking at right here is real data. This is real data. This is not fake data. This is real data. I have de-identified the names. I've de-identified the names. Everything else is real. The date is real. The source is real. The appointment is real. The deal closed is real. I removed a couple of columns, like there was a column in here for pre approved. I removed that column. Everything else here is legitimate, real data. From an ROI call that I was supposed to have on Friday, but it got postponed. It got postponed to sometime this week. I'm not going to mention who it's for, but I am going to, because I don't have permission to do that. But this data is 100% legitimate. This is real data. Let's talk about this data, okay? We have a couple of columns: date, lead name, source, appointment, deal close. And let's talk about how to fill this in. Okay, so you're getting leads on Facebook. Every time you get a new lead on Facebook, they do not go in this spreadsheet. No reason for them to. You get a new lead from Zillow, Realtor.com, or whatever. They do not go in this spreadsheet. The only leads who go in this spreadsheet are people who, number one, we have set an appointment for, or number two, you have spoken on the phone with. So even if we didn't set an appointment for that person, if we sent you a hot lead notification, and then you were like, crap, I got time right now. Let me just randomly call this person. And you call them and they answer the phone, you put them on this sheet. If we set an appointment for you and you have not spoken to that person yet because maybe the appointment is today or tomorrow or Thursday, you put them on this sheet. You put their name and you put the date. You put their name and you put the date. If you want to and you have the source, you put the source, obviously, right? You put the name and you put the date. I'm going to take a breath here. I'm going to take a moment. This is really important. If you understand what I've said so far, make a comment in the chat. Because if you don't understand this, what I've said so far, I'm not going to continue. This is important. I want to make sure we all have a clear understanding of what it is that you need, a Google spreadsheet, who needs access to it, everyone on your team, the columns that you need, date, lead, name, appointment, deal closed. Do you understand that so far? How to set that up? Do you have access to Google? Like, do you know that? And I'm going to read some comments here because I got some folks who are messaging me. Hassan, what happens to the leads that do not qualify? The leads that don't. Oh, so if a lead does not qualify, then we mark them as dead. Like if they come through and they're like they want to buy in like okay, Michelle, so they want to buy in Bowie, um, they want to buy in Beechtree, but like they work down at the convenience store and they actually just lost their job. They don't have a job. They want to buy that nice house. We mark them as dead because they're just not qualified, right? So we'll mark those people as dead and then you won't have to follow up with them. Okay. So I got a couple of people, a lot of people who said they understand, right? So okay, so you understand. Perfect. So we understand where we are now. The new lead comes in. They respond to a text message we send. They respond to your follow up. Maybe you're not using Smart Alto. Maybe a new lead comes in and you're following up with that person. They do not respond to you. That's just a new lead. They do not go on this spreadsheet. This spreadsheet is reserved only for those people who you who Smart Alto has set an appointment for, or you've set an appointment, or your ISA has set an appointment. An appointment has been set. An appointment has been set. Number two, you have spoken on the phone with that person. All right. Okay. So new lead comes in. You've spoken on a Smart Alto set an appointment for you. You come in and you put the date. This started at 1/8, so January the 8th. January the 8th, right? You come in and you put that person's name and you put the date. When you, if you spoke to that person on the phone, you just put yes here. If the appointment has not happened yet, you leave it blank. When the appointment happens, you call them, they answer the phone, you put yes here. You call them, they don't answer the phone. You text message them with the appointment time and date and the image of it. They don't answer the phone. They blew you off. You put no right here. What is that going to help you do? It helps you understand at the end of the month how many leads you got, how many people did you schedule appointments with, how many people showed up for those appointments, how many people in a month's time frame did the deal close. Okay? Again, if you want to add a column here, you can for showing homes or pre-approved. I didn't do that for this. They had pre-approved here. I removed it just because I did. No other reason, because I just did. Okay, so lead comes in, you put the person's name, you put the date, you talk to them on the phone, you put yes. That's all this person has did. That's all they've done over a 2 week time frame. That's all they did over a 2 week time frame. Let me see how many this is. We set 18 appointments for them in a matter of 2 weeks. Okay, and in that 2 weeks, of those 18 people, one, two, they had two no shows. So 16 of the 18 people they talked to or they messaged with. That's 90%. 16 of the 18 people okay. All right, you got your calculator out. It's 88%. 89% if you want to round up. Stop. That's 90% of people. That's 90% of people who showed up. And I don't know why this person didn't show up. And I don't know why this person didn't show up. But it's important to know that. Why did they not show up? Follow up with them. Send them the text message that I talk about sending. Why do you have no shows? Okay. Why are some people not showing up? People want to keep their commitments. Why are they not showing up? 16 of the 18 people showed up. Great. So, what's the next sheet that you need? An ROI sheet, which is here. That's the ROI sheet with three columns: month, cost, and return. That's it. Three columns: month, cost, and return. That's it. Three columns: month, cost, and return. You don't need more than three columns. You want to know what month are we referring to? How much money did you spend to generate leads during that month? And then when the deal closes, you come back. If I come back and the team in 2 months, if this deal closes, I just put a yes. I put a Y. Another deal closes. I put a Y. So I closed two deals. Of these 18 leads, 16 showed up, two deals closed. How much money do I make? So you put yes and yes. Another thing you can do is just put the money that you made. 9,000. 9,000. So that way you'll know how much money you made. And obviously, if you put a number right there, the deal closed. So you don't even have to put yes or no. You can put yes or no. I'm sorry, yes. It's no reason for you to put no. You can put yes, or you can put the size of the transaction, which is what I prefer. How much money did you make? 8,000. 8,000. Right? That's your average commission. Melissa, what's your average commission in Utah? You in Utah? Oh, and how was your trip? I know that you went on the trip with your son up in Parkland, I think. What's it called Woodland? I wasn't familiar with the park that you went to, but hopefully you had a good time and he had a good time, and I think you were celebrating his birthday. How was that? Just message in the comments because I can see it here. I think that was this weekend, this past weekend too. So hopefully you had a great time. Hopefully you were able to make it up there. Okay, so anyway, you can just put 8,000, 8,000, how much ever the deal was, and then you come here, and then you can go to how much money you spend on leads in a month. You put that dollar amount here, because now it's March, right? Now it's March, and you go to March, and you know that the deal has closed, right? And so you go back to your spreadsheet and you say, Jane Doe closed and I made $8,000, and there you go. And you come back and you say, okay, $8,000, great. And then later in June, you know that you closed another deal and it was John Doe. And you come back and you put $8,000. Okay, great. And you come back and you say that was in January. Then when that lead came through, okay, perfect. And you say, great. Now I know my return. I closed two deals and it's not $8,000, but it's $16,000. And you also know how much money you spent on ads during that month. That number is not going to change. That number is not going to change because we're past the month of January, right? We're in June now. So you go back and you say, okay, I spent $2,000 on leads in June. And from those leads I got in June, I've made two of those deals. From those leads I got in June, 18 appointments were set. 16 people kept those appointments. Two deals closed. And I made $16,000. Great. One thing you can add here, which I don't have right here, but you can add it if it's really easy for you to get it. It's a question when we get on the phone and talk about this that I'm going to ask you. How many leads did you get? I'm going to ask you, how many leads did you get? Because if you told me that you only got 10 leads, well, I'm going to say, well, even if your conversion rate is 10% to appointment, which is great. You're not making any money. You're not generating enough leads. You don't have enough volume. So that's what the problem is. It's not your conversion rate is low, but you don't have enough leads. Think back to the fortune framework. If you were on the call I had a couple of days ago, think back to the fortune framework that I talked about and where you fit in that fortune framework. If you got no leads and no conversions, then you got a D3 problem. If you got a lot of leads but low conversions, then you got a PPS problem. People processes or people principles and systems. And you can't give people systems without principles because you just gave them chaos. So I talked to you about all that stuff. All this stuff goes together, folks. It all goes together. Okay, so now January is the month that we're referring to. You spent $2,000, so let me say $5,000 or $500, and maybe only one deal closed, and you made 8K from it, right? So you spent $500, one deal closed, spent 8K. Let me move that, right? So this is our little scenario right here. Our scenario is that in January you spent $500 on ad spend and you made $8,000 because one deal closed. One deal closed. The cost for leads for a month is 2K. That's just an example. This is all fictional. I'm glad you brought that up, um, Daniel. This is all fake data right here. This is fake. This is fake data. On the ROI tab, this is all fake data. This data is real data, except for this. The deal closed is fake data. It's all fake data. Because all of this, Daniel, is real. It's all real. And you can see that we just started this on January the 8th. So we're like 2 weeks in. This is like the coming up on the third week. And I was supposed to have an ROI close, but I don't know any deals that's closing in 2 weeks. So I got all this data empty. And this is all real data here. But the ROI data is fake. Okay? This is just example purposes, the ROI data. Okay, so let me go put this in again. 8,000. Gia asked the question, can you use the calendar that I've already set up? No. You have to use a Calendly link. Gia, are you a Smart Alto client? I don't think we've ever met. Are you a Smart Alto client? Just let me know. Okay. Um, cool. Okay, great. Now, when I come here, again, this is fake data. This is not accurate. This is just for example purposes. I come in, I look at the month, I look at how much I spent on leads, $500. I closed one deal, made $8,000. Great. Because now we're in March, right? And I go back and I look, a deal closed in March. That lead came in January. I assign that person to January, not March. I assign that person to when the lead came in, not when the deal closed. When the lead came in, not when the deal closed. I need to know when the lead came in and when the deal closed so I know my sales cycle. How long is my sales cycle? If I lose when the lead came in and I don't track that, I only have when the deal closed and I don't know how long it's going to take me to make money because this is real estate sales. Deals can take 3, 6, 9 months. You need to you take on the risk of that. You float that. That's why you got to build up your pipeline because this isn't quick money. It can be really great when it comes in, and once you build your pipeline up, man, you just got it's just money is flowing in. But Jacob said we set 28 appointments for him this month in basically 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Those deals may not close until March or April. But he's making money this month from the leads who came in November or October. So you need to track when the lead came in and assign the dollar value to the lead. That's really important. Assign the dollar value to the lead when they came in on this spreadsheet. It's important to know when the deal closed, not only because that's how you get paid when the deal closes, but you can track that, somewhere else if you want to. For this purposes, we're tracking it when the lead came in. And then you simply just go to your ROI calculator, which there are hundreds of them online. This is the one I tell my clients to use. 500. You put in the amount invested, 8,000. You put in the amount returned, and then you put in the dates, January to March, and you simply just hit calculate. And when you hit calculate, you will see your investment, your ROI. On this fictitious scenario, we have a 1,500% ROI. Now, a couple of things to note. This cost is only your lead cost. What we're really figuring out here is your return on ad spend. That's directionally your return on ad spend. This doesn't take into account maybe if you have creative assets or the cost of smart alto. It doesn't take that into account. If you want to see how much you're spending on smart alto and then annualize that and put that in here, you can do it. So smart alto, if you're paying on a monthly basis, it's $300 a month. You can put that in here, and whatever your ad cost is, just add $300 to it, right? To give you a sense of what your return. You can do that for your lead conversion systems. This only takes into account your ad cost. Jacob, the automatic calendar text reminder has been huge for us in eliminating no-show appointments. Yes, Jacob. Yes. Thank you for setting that up, buddy. I appreciate it. You have no idea how many people have not set that up um, with the recommendation because they're trying to save $8, man. Like, come on. It doesn't make sense to me. So Melissa, you said Woodwork in Park City was awesome. My average sales price last year was 480K. Great. So 480K, 480K at 3% makes me think I'm in the wrong business. 480K. Man, that's good. That's good. Okay, so we know who's got all the money now, Melissa. We know you got all the money. All right. So that's it. Use this calculator. I'm gonna send you. I use calculator.net. I'm gonna put a link in a Smart Alto um, chat. I'm sorry, in the chat for this conversation for this Facebook Live with this to the Smart Alto calculator, and let me know if you want this simple little spreadsheet that I have here, because I can create this spreadsheet for everyone, and I can just make it available to you, so you can just and copy it and put it into your Google spreadsheets and then send it to everyone on your team. If you don't want to do that, I've already got it set up. I can just put it there. So if you want this, then let me know. Just say I'm interested in it. I could even it's important that you don't do this in Excel. You got to do this in a way that everyone has access to it. So it's important to do it in Google Docs or whatever, something that's like shareable. So let's just go over this at a high level again, right? So it's only a couple of things. Number one, use Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets. Make sure everyone has access to it. Number two, the columns are date, lead name, appointment, and deal closed. You can add to that, but you can't delete from it. You can add source, you can add the add type, you can add pre-approved, you can add showing homes, yes or no, right? But you got to have date, lead name, appointment, and deal closed. Number three, you only put people here who are, you only put people here who have, who you've spoken to on the phone or we've set an appointment for you. All leads don't go into this spreadsheet. Only the ones that you've spoken to or we've set an appointment for you. Number four, the sheet that you need too is ROI, the ROI sheet, where you have three columns, month, cost, and return. You put in the month, you put in the cost you spent for the leads, and then you put in how much money you made. Number five, you go back and when you close a deal, you assign that deal here to the freaking lead when they came in. And you put just how much money you made from that. And that goes into your appointment. I'm sorry, into your return section. Okay, Daniel, Melissa, Chris, great. I'll send that to all of you all. I'll make that available to everyone who said that. Great, no problem. And then the last thing, and you simply just go to calculator.net. I'll send this link to everyone as well. And then you put in the amount invested and amount returned. And you put in the dates and you hit calculate, and it's going to show you what your ROI is. And as you adjust these, man, it changes. If you spent 5K on ads, but you only made 8K, your ROI is 60%. You're still good. Your goal, your return on investment, you should be looking for a 3x. You should be looking for a 3x at a bare minimum from all of your cost. If you're not getting a 3x, I would say 3 to 10x is really good. You get rich like that. You just build wealth and you just keep investing. You keep doubling down because you're generating enough leads. You have your conversions down. You just build wealth like that, right? You talk to Tim Howell, who runs a mega team for KW down in Texas and I think Arizona now. These just he's just making a bunch of money and he's getting 3x on some lead sources. He's getting 10x on other lead sources. So that just matters. Just track that. Okay. So, what are we going to do next week? I don't know. I honestly, I haven't thought about it. That's the honest answer. What are we going to talk about next week? If there's something you want to know, put it in a chat, and I'll definitely take that into consideration. And as I go through a brainstorming session with my team. I was supposed to be at Inman. I wasn't going to go to Inman this week, and I still may go, but it's in New York, which is right up the street from me. 3 hours. I could catch the train up. I still may go to Inman this week, and I have been pretty busy. um, last week and this week, so I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. If you have any ideas, I'm open to suggestions. Let me know because I am excited. Let me know if you enjoyed this presentation. I would love to to hear that as well. And one of the things that I ask at the end of this presentation is for you to review me on Google. The reason this is important to me is because I want to write for Fast Company or Inc. this year. It's one of my goals. My strategy for doing that is to increase my social presence, specifically on Google. So when people search my name, good things show up. If you enjoyed this presentation, then I would love for you to review me on Google. If you got something from this, I would love for you to review me on Google. This is You don't have to be a Smart Alto client to do this. I'm not asking you to review Smart Alto. I'm asking you to review me actually, me and my teaching and kind of what you're learning here. If you didn't learn anything, then obviously no reason to review, to leave a review. But if you did, I'll ask humbly that you leave a positive review because my goal here is to help you reach your goal, and I'm asking you to help me reach my goal. So I mentioned that. I know several of you have done it. Thank you for those of you who have done it. And those of you who haven't, that's perfectly okay. Don't feel the need to do it if you don't enjoy the presentation. But if you do enjoy it and you continue to show up, if you're continuing to show up, then you're obviously learning something. So I'll ask that you review me on Google, um, or um, or you got to ask yourself why are you showing up if you're not kind of getting something from it. So let me see. How do I stop sharing now? Let me put that down, and there you go. So again, thank you so much for joining. I will be around for the next couple of minutes to kind of answer questions. If you want me to, that would be great. Hey, Debbie, how are you? Appreciate the time. Thanks, Hassan. Appreciate the time you take to help us grow our business. Have a terrific week. You too, Debbie. Daniel, let's chat after this about a tool where by sharing the tool, it will end up not costing. Um, okay. Yes, this, Deborah said, yes, would love this, please. Thank you so much. I'd like the spreadsheet. Thank you. Okay. Melissa, I'll make sure you get the spreadsheet. And I'll probably post this spreadsheet so everyone just gets access to it. No problem. Gia, I never got a response from you to see if you're a Smart Alto client, so I don't know if you popped off the presentation or if you just decided not to respond. Nevertheless, I am hopping off now, so we will have to catch up another time and to answer your questions. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate you kind of hanging around. Again, my name is Hassan Ricks, founder CEO at Smart Alto, contributor for Forbes. So I write about real estate marketing, real estate technology trends, and how to set appointments through text message. Also a speaker at NAR, speaker at Inman, and the founder CEO at Smart Alto. So if you have enjoyed this presentation, please don't forget to review me on Google. I'll post this or have Adam post this later on YouTube, and we'll send out links to different places for those of you who are watching it later. And look forward to chatting with you soon. I'll hop in the Facebook group in a couple of minutes to answer any follow-up questions that folks may have, but look forward to chatting with you soon. And this has been 2 Cents, another episode of 2 Cents in the Real Estate Marketing Mastermind Facebook group on Facebook. Look forward to chatting with you soon. Take it easy.